brother in America. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Africa, tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. America, tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze.
Greetings everyone. My name is Simon Javan Okelo. I'm here with my sister Livia, Kojo, Alour, and we are here as part of Africa Day celebration on Clubhouse. We are bringing the first 24-hour marathon on Clubhouse, and I'm really privileged to be working with my dear Livia, Kojo, Alour to bring to you an hour or more of discovering African poets throughout the entire African diaspora. So currently we have a conversation about the legacy of Kwame Nkrumah, history, and the future of African music, as well as African literature. Now, after the ongoing segment, we are going to be diving deep into poetry led by Livia. And I just wanted you, Lydia, briefly introduce yourself and introduce the amount of work that you've been putting in the last few weeks to make this segment about discovering Africa's diaspora poets possible. Thank you very much.
Hello. Hi, Simon. Thank you so much for inviting me to the podcast and to this live. That's wonderful. Yes, I'm so excited. Africa Day got kicked off this morning and I've been listening in. My segment, as you said, is discovering African voices throughout the diaspora. And I have an array of poets lined up who are already excited and waiting from all over the world, really, who will share their work to show off what the new writing in the diaspora and on the continent is like. Let's say it this way. There are so many talented people out there who have very important voices that need to be heard and highlighted, and I'm so privileged and happy that you invited me to help doing that. The last 3 weeks I've been collecting poets, basically asking them if they want to come. We've been preparing a few of the pieces. We've been preparing this show today, and we've been preparing the warm-up show yesterday. So the last 48 hours, I was actually non-stop involved with African poets, talking to them about the show. It's amazing.
Man, share with me, let's say, the biggest challenge you've encountered since you started, helping produce this amazing Africa Day production on Clubhouse. Just one challenge that you've encountered and how you've overcome it.
So the biggest challenge was choosing the poets, because there were definitely more poets that I think should be heard than we could fit in an hour or so. So also, and the challenge had two parts, because this show is obviously at 7 a.m. EST, which is very early in some of the American parts. And I needed to overcome the challenge to highlight all the voices that I wanted, even though the time zone and the shortness of the show. So that's why I got the official warm-up yesterday going, because I could put the poets who could not be here today, I could put them into the show yesterday. So give people basically a teaser and a warm-up, and also show off the poets that couldn't be here for Africa Day. And that was, I think, the biggest challenge for the poetry setup, because there are just too many good poets.
Yeah. Now I was just looking at the list of poets that you curated. I'm looking at Johnny Nogood. I'm looking at Tariq. I'm looking at Felicia Webster. With Love, Felicia. I'm also looking at Simply E, the poetess. I'm looking at Lolita Walker. I'm also looking at Joy Osula. Can you briefly tell us about some of them? You don't have to touch on all of them.
Yes, so I really wanted to highlight a few. I mean, I wanted to have a balance between female and male voices, because a lot of times I feel in the poetry world we highlight male poets more than the female ones. So I try to find a good balance. And Lolita Walker is one of the poets that stands out because she has a very specific style of writing. She is a motivational speaker, and she is also a coach, helping people to reach their personal goals. And her poetry is not particular spoken word slam poetry as you would think, but it's motivational poetry. And she has a beautiful voice, and she uses her poetry to get people understand their and understand how they can reach their goals and how they can think positive and reflect positive on all parts of life. So this is why I wanted to have her in the program, because she's very different and she has a very positive way of approaching poetry. And Tariq is one of the poets that I met on Clubhouse, who is an academic, and he's currently in his PhD program, and he has a very analytical way of writing that is also very different from pen to paper only or slam poetry. His voice is comes from a queer perspective, and it's very important. He's also a little older, so he's like in his 40s like me. And so he has a very different perspective on the life already lived out of a queer black academic perspective, and I really really appreciate his voice too.
Wow, wow, wow. When did you start poetry? Because I have so much, like I adore you. You know, I've never met a sword swallower before in my life. You know, and you're such a risk taker. You're just a warrior, really. You know, you could make so much money in Africa, by the way, just by. Oh my God! One day I'll travel with you and we'll do some shows there. You know, but
That would be amazing.
when did you start being a poet, and then speak to sword swallowing, and when you started doing that? Because many people don't know that you do that, but I feel that this is actually something that is from our ancestry, it's from our roots. I think you discovered, you encountered yourself in a very very deep way, and I can't just tell you how much I appreciate you and how much I'm honored to actually be seeing you and being connected with you. It's just beautiful.
Oh, thank you, Simon. Yes.
Yeah.
So I've been an artist for the last 25 years. Really, when I was 14, we did a little school music play, and I was on stage then, and I knew that I wanted to be on stage. So my life wasn't as easy. It could be a whole other story, but I've been a full-time artist since 25 years. I started performing with circus skill about 12 years ago, and I became a sword swallower 7 years ago. I saw a sword swallower on stage, and I thought, this is what I want to do. I just knew I can do it. And I don't know why, because normally people see this and they said, this is what I would never do.
Yeah.
I saw it and I knew I can do it. So I went on my way to find somebody to teach me and help me, and eventually succeeded. And it was a very big revelation. I do think it has to do with ancestry. I feel that there is something deeply connecting with overcoming, which is a constant theme in my life, overcoming fear and overcoming pain. And also it really connects me to the continent. I have yet to find the African woman that lives in Africa that can swallow swords. However, there are only 4 black sword swallowers in the world, and they are all women. So it's very interesting. And I became a poet about 3 years ago. I used to write poetry all my life, but never approached it on a professional creative writing way. But yes, like 3 years ago, I really wanted to start speaking on stage, and I tried to write a solo show and ended up writing a book of spoken word poetry, really. And since then, I'm hooked on spoken word and on performance poetry. I love putting all the skills together and bringing an experience to the stage. That's why it was so amazing to talk to David Bianchi yesterday, because I think he also looks at spoken word in a performance way, and that makes his work so exciting. And I hope that I can bring something to the table like that, obviously very different, but my way of doing that.
Wow. Share with us briefly what you're most excited for besides your own segment in regards to Africa Day, before we end our live today, so that we can join the rest of the village back on Clubhouse.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was excited for Africa Day because I call myself a lost child of the diaspora. I grew up in Germany and I was adopted by white parents. And I didn't have any information about Africa until very late in my life, because it was just not part of the education my parents chose for me. And I am still learning. In this day is for me, I can just sit back. I mean, I'm except of when I'm involved, but I can sit back and listen and really learn from this program. And this is the most exciting part. I love learning more than anything. I just started playing the piano. Like, I'm 45. I don't know what I'm doing, but
Yeah.
being throwing myself into learning something new is my favorite. So I'm looking forward to learn about Africa the whole day and walk away with a full heart and knowledge.
Wow, thank you so much. And if you're joining us just now for this live, we are doing this so that we can just update you on what's going on Clubhouse, which is an audio drop-in. It's a new social platform that allows you to connect with people worldwide. And we are hosting the first 24-hour digital marathon for Africa Day on Clubhouse. And my dear Livia Kojo Alour is a sister based in London, the UK, and she's leading an amazing segment that is coming up next, starting at 4 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's in about 15 minutes, and it's titled
Yes.
Discover Africa's Diaspora Poets. With that segment, you will be able to connect with poets from all over the world. And I want to give a shout out to Buddy Lane TV, who has joined us for this live segment here on YouTube. But also thank all the poets and all the organizers for Africa Day. I just want you all to know that you are deeply appreciated. And remember to use the following hashtags if you want to stay in tune with what's going on. Africa Day 2021, Africa Day, Africa is Now, and I Am One Vibe Africa. Thank you again for joining us for this quick episode, and we are going to see you live and direct on Clubhouse. Livia, do you have anything to say before we close our brief interview?
I just wanted to say thank you again for coming onto the live with me. And I see everybody in 15 minutes on the Clubhouse show for
Perfect.
African poets.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Father in America. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Tujikaze, tujikaze.